Welcome to Holding Space. Michael Zen is a visual producer and creative photographer using his imaginative visionary energy to channel Zen and hold space for spiritual and innovative discussion. Each episode creates a supportive, accepting, and open environment that allows exploration and expertise to come together with engaging and entertaining convergence. With guest and community all helping the shape of the way, Michael is grateful to be together to hold space. Now here is your host of Holding Space, Michael Zen.
Yes, here I am, Michael Zen. Happy 4th of July, even though it's the 7th, July 7th. Boom, I've been waiting to do that. It's Tuesday, so it is me here again holding space. It's good to see Arnie out there in the audience already filling up the front row. I love it. See people coming in. It's good to see everybody. It is, again, it's Tuesday. It's July 7th. It's crazy that it's July. Can you believe that it's July? Me and my shadow. Can you believe it? I love that Todd says, I am creating, engaging and entertaining convergence, and you guys are all helping shape the way. That's what's happening. That's what we're doing. I love that. I love this environment. I love the Sacred Spiral Network, all of you crazy sacred spiralers. I'm even more excited about tonight because of that, because the Sacred Spiral Network is such an amazing place. I actually have the creator of the Sacred Spiral Network that I'm going to be talking to. So I'm super excited about that. What's up, Jennifer McCormick? Good to see you as well. And what's up, Angelo Rodan? Yes, it is the Zen effect happening right now. Let's set some intentions. Let's have a good time for the next hour. Let's call in the best energy, the best possible outcome for all of us. Let's just all be here together. Let's connect through this moment that I like to call the 3 breaths. This is inspired by Brian, the Wizard of Odd, his show Be in the Light. Him and I have done some shows together, going through the tarot decks and the angel decks, and he started his own show, and he does basically a practice. He does meditation, he does breathing, much deeper than I'm going to do right now, but I feel like even just the 3 breaths to connect with intentionally is a good place to start. And the reason I do it, I know I say this every time, but like we breathe all day long. We don't even think about it. What's up, Ashley Page? Good to see you. #live. We breathe all day long. It keeps us alive. We do it. We don't even think about it. But I think when we do think about it, when we give it intention and we pay attention to it happening, we connect with ourselves. We connect with something higher just for a moment. We also affect our biology. Physiologically, we feel it, right? We open up our blood flow a little bit. We feel our blood flowing through our veins a little bit more. So the 3 breaths, breathing is fundamental. What is up, Mandy Johnson? Good to see you here as well. So Sage, welcome to the show. Sage, my co-host, my Tibetan singing bowl here, who just reacts to my voice. Sometimes I'm in the room, and if I'm nearby, I can hear her going, ooh. It's really awesome. But all right, everybody ready? If you're ready, raise your hand. I got to just take a deep breath in and out to get my lungs ready. And I am ready to start the 3 breaths. Here we go. Do a breath in through your nose. Hold it up at the top for just a second. Feeling it. Fill you up, and then feel it release. Let your shoulders loose just a little bit. Feel yourself sinking into your seat as you release that breath and everything else that you don't need from the day. Let's do another one together. In through the nose. Hold it up at the top. Let it out with a nice sink back into your seat. Feel your butt in the chair. Plant yourself, ground yourself a little bit. Last one together. Here we go. Make it a nice deep one. Feel it up at the top. And then let it out. Let it all out. Just sink down into your chair. Feel yourself rooted in your spot. For the next hour, we're going to have an amazing conversation all about what the Sacred Spiral Network means, what this moment in humanity means. Kelly Brickel is a numerologist, so we're going to discuss that with Kelly about through a numerological standpoint. Thank you. Sorry, I had to put down Sage. How's everyone doing tonight? I'm excited. It's summertime. It's starting to get warm here on the East Coast. I don't know. I know we've got people in the UK. We've got people on the West Coast. We got people all over the place. We've got me and my shadow, who is #live at the moment. What that does, if you see that happening and you don't know what that is, that's just us tickling the algorithm. If you just type something into the comment box, that's why it's just #live, just to say you're alive. Or if you're watching the replay, you can even type #replay. What that does is it tickles the algorithm a little bit. It says, hey, somebody's watching this. I think I'm going to show it to more people like that person, right? Because you're a person, but you're also data, right? The things that you like to watch represent you. And so when you tickle the algorithm, like Nancy Martella just did, #live, and she says, hello friends. Hello Nancy, good to see you. When you tickle the algorithm, more people who are similarly interested show up, which is really cool. So thank you guys for tickling the algorithm when you do, and for just being here and creating this hour with me. I love it. I love that you are doing that. And what is up? It's tout papier. I would love to know if I'm pronouncing that right. I feel like I'm pronouncing it right because it's just cool to say tout papier, tout papier. Good to see you. Anyway, so my guest tonight is the founder of the Sacred Spiral Network. She kind of evolved the Sacred Spiral Network from another paranormal kind of network that was happening with Todd, the announcer, the narrator for some of the intros. It's really, I mean, I kind of was there, I think, right as the transition was happening. I met Kelly, I met Jennifer Rose. I had Kelly on my show, The Live Stream of Consciousness. I had Jennifer Rose on my show, The Live Stream of Consciousness. If you guys want to know the story, basically, I do a show called The Live Stream of Consciousness, and I was asking all of my guests, what is consciousness? They were psychic mediums, they were tarot readers, they were Akashic Records readers, they were channelers, they were musicians, they were actors, they were comedians. I had Tommy Chong on my show. They were flat earth believers. I had Flat Earth Dave, the king of flat earth, on my show. Why? Because I don't believe in flat earth myself, but I do believe that we don't know everything exactly, and some of the things that we've been told may not be true. And I think that that's what flat earth represents. To me, that's what flat earth represents. I have a hard time judging people. I'm not saying I don't do it. I'm a human being and I find myself doing it, and I'm happy that I'm aware when I find myself doing it, because then I question myself. But I had been seeing a lot of videos on the internet of Flat Earth Dave talking to people, and people were just, the videos that I was seeing, that I was being fed at the time, were people were just like, you're an idiot, what the hell's wrong with you? And a lot of divisive language and energy that I just don't resonate with. And I said, I want to invite this guy on my show, and I want to find some common ground. I felt like I wanted to find common ground. That was it, period. I just wanted to find common ground. So he was actually on a friend of mine's show, and I got to call in and talk to him and meet him and then invite him to my show. And we had such a great conversation. It was amazing. So anyway, I'm going on a tangent. Ashley is offering to be on my show. I would love to have you on the show, Ashley. Reach out to me. My email's there underneath right now, Mr. Z1. You can see it right there, MRZEE1 at AOL.com. Reach out to me and let's start a dialogue and get you on the calendar and get you on the show. Anyway, back to the story. So I was doing an episode with oh my goodness, what the heck is her name? She is the tarot reader. Lead with Energy. Oh, I can't believe I'm forgetting her name. Lead with Energy. She leaves tarot cards in places. Kelly will tell me her name when she comes on. But I had her on my show, and somebody who was associated with the Sacred Spiral Network at the time came on my show and invited other people. And all of a sudden, I saw people in the chat room going, "Hey, thanks, Debbie, for inviting me to this. This is cool." And I was like, "Wow, people are showing up!" And it was this community spirit that was amazing. And I was like, "Holy moly!" And I reached out to that woman, Debbie, who was on the Sacred Spiral Network at the time, and she said, "Yeah, you got to meet Kelly. You got to meet Jennifer Rose." And it all started there. And here I am doing my own show, and I'm excited tonight because I am actually going to be holding space for the founder of the Sacred Spiral Network, the creator. She's here to join me right now. So welcome back, returning champion to the holding space, Kelly Brickel. What's happening, Kelly?
Returning champion. I love it. Thank you for having me. I'm doing well. Thank you so much, Michael.
Cool. I know, like both of us, we were just talking before the show about how spread thin we are. So I know you were just finishing up eating. So I'm glad I was able to babble and wait for you to come here. And
I appreciate you. I made 3 eggs with cheese and tomatoes and some sourdough, and then I just lifted up like
a soup. You just ate
yeah.
it like a soup. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you making some time for me and being here. And I think we got a lot to talk about. So first of all, I want to say it's been an amazing, I think it's been 2 years. Has it been 2 years that we've been working together?
I think so.
So. It's been an amazing 2 years to watch the Sacred Spiral Network kind of go from where you were picking it up and taking it and to where it is now. The amount of shows that you have and the energy behind the audience and the commitment of the audience, everybody who's out there right now. I see everybody who's in this audience in other audiences when I personally go and watch other shows. So I really love the community that you've created. I think it's amazing, and I'm grateful to have been a part of it, to help create some intros and get to meet everybody and work with everybody. It's been something amazing. So kudos for that.
Thank you. I mean, everyone here, I would say the community is just so nice and wants to learn, and we're happy to share the energy from show to show, from person to person. That's all I ever wanted when I was, developing, is to have like a place where people get to talk and not feel like this is just some idea that's random that maybe you think about at night and then maybe something weird happened to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's important to me. And I'm really happy with how everybody feels about the shows. It's no surprise. I mean, amazing hosts. Thank you so much, Michael. You're one of the amazing hosts. It's no surprise that people love the hosts, but yeah, the support is beautiful. It really is.
Yeah. Well, it's just for me, it feels very authentic, right? Like all of I go by vibe, right? I can remember being like 15 or 16, being like, yeah, I don't know, I just go by vibe, right? Like, because I knew that the way I was navigating my life was, just kind of feeling it out, and if something felt right to me or something didn't feel right to me. And it was kind of, I guess, that's my intuition, right? I'm not kind of like, I haven't gone down the path of being a psychic medium or reading tarot, but I love all of that stuff. I definitely resonate with the expression of connection to energy.
It feels good. It definitely does feel good. Sometimes you have to, I think, even if you haven't gone the rabbit hole of becoming a psychic medium, because it could be irrelevant. You could just be a healer or a sensitive individual, but you could have gone through crazy things in either path. And it takes a lot to really condense something so simple where you're just like, yep, that's it. Like you knew as a kid, you knew as a teenager, yep, it's just a feeling. And that's like very wise in itself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think even for me, and I just really actually learned about what spiritualism is, as like kind of like, I don't want to use the word religion, but as a belief system, right?
It is.
And I can remember also growing up and kind of, I was born into a Jewish family. I grew up Jewish. I had a bar mitzvah, and then thank you, Nancy. Yeah, we do love Kelly. I was told, hey, you can continue with religion or not. And I remember, having very specific thoughts about religion, right? And what I did like about it, what I didn't like about it. And I was like, no, I don't want to, continue it necessarily. And then I think, within the next couple of years, I had to kind of form a belief system, right? Something like, what do I believe in? And I just decided that I believe that good and evil were two opposite forces, and that you align with one of them, right? And you decide what you want to align with. And I decided I wanted to align with good because that's what felt better to me. I had experienced stuff that I thought was probably aligned with evil, and I was like, that stuff doesn't feel so good. So, I didn't go that path, right? And that's kind of what I decided. Brian says, greetings.
Hey, Brian.
To,
hey, Nancy.
Trying to click
hey,
it.
Ashley,
Greetings
Arnie.
to the Spiral Goddess. I'm just going to close my door for a second, Kelly, because
Go for it, please. Hello, Jennifer. I'm going to say hello to everybody. Hello, Courtney. Hello, Maggie. Hello, Angelo. Machado. Everybody, thank you for being here. Mandy, hello.
Yes.
Tupa.
I see Mandy. I see Arnie. Looking through my looking glass, the romper room looking glass. Do you remember that?
No, I didn't watch the romper. I'm familiar with what it is, but I never watched the romper room.
Yeah, she had this magic mirror she would hold up, and it was like, as a little kid, it was kind of funny. She'd want to like say hello, right? And she would just like say hello to a bunch of names, and there's going to be a Michael out there, there's going to be a Joey, there's going to be. So she would hold up this mirror, like a mirror with a handle, right? And it was solid, but then all of a sudden the scene would change and it would be just like the frame, so you would see through it. It's like the magic of television. And she'd be like, I see Johnny, I see Joey. Yes, Nancy remembers. And what's up, Tawny? Good to see you too. Lots of folks out there.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, if you just go on YouTube and say Magic Mirror Romper Room, you'll see it right away. I'm sure it's classic. But anyway, I want to hold some space for you because, again, I'm a big fan of the Sacred Spiral Network. Oh, I did want to say one thing, actually, before I even go into that. You were talking about the idea of all of these healers, right? And this kind of moment, and all of these people. I want to change the paradigm a little bit. I came up with this word. I think that we're all quantum mechanics, right? I am a quantum mechanic. I can fix things using the quantum, right? Using the energy, just using my thoughts and just navigating that way. So I think instead of healers, I call them quantum mechanics. They are all quantum mechanics.
Yeah, you could say we're quantum computers and we're quantum mechanics, and we've learned how to, hack the system, or be co-creators, be the creator as well as, a part of what was created to alter. I definitely believe in all of that. Alchemy.
Yes, alchemy. I love it. Yes, I love it. Yeah, I mean, when you kind of walk around and you certain belief systems are like, okay, I believe everything is frequency or everything is energy, you know, like those are kind of belief systems that then, you know, refine into how to function day to day, you know, in a world with other three-dimensional beings. um, so all
Absolutely.
right, so let's talk about the sacred spiral networks. The sacred spiral network, I think, is such a brilliant idea, and the time I think is perfect because so many things are changing. You know, the paradigm that we live in is changing. The people's experiences are opening up to beyond the three-dimensional. Let's just say that, right? Because it's so vast, right? It's all anything beyond three-dimensional. You know, you can include psychic mediums, you can include akashic records, channelers, all of the metaphysical stuff, but you can also include like paranormal stuff, like, you know, aliens and UFOs and interdimensional beings, and even kind of a little Venn diagram, you know, see the crossover, right, where they might actually cross over and kind of, you know, have a lot of similarities. I think that's what time we're in. And that's what I love about the Sacred Spiral Network, right? It's not just psychic mediums. You also have, you know, the Enchanted Realms show where you're talking about, you know, different ideas of what reality is. And I was talking earlier about, you know, not being able to really deny someone of their experience, right? And that's what I love about it. It's because the Sacred Spiral Network is a place where you can do any of that, and be accepted and kind of even be like, not questioned, but like, people are inquisitive. People are like, oh, what is that? That sounds kind of interesting. You know, people are interested. So
I,
that's what I love.
I I think that, right, it's important to open our mind, and Messages from the Enchanted Realms is a very mystical show where it does blur the lines of how people view energy because it's extremely fantastical. But the most fantastical part is you have readers, that is their style. They're, for whatever reason, they connect to the energy or the totems or the representation of dragons, of fairies,
Mhm.
of the fae, of gnomes. I mean, you know, Shannon and Fran, they're really connected to the fairy realm, as well as Jennifer is, and angels. And so, as long as it's real for the individual and they say, let me share this with you, and people are going, yes, I can take the information, why the heck not?
Mhm.
It's something to be explored. If we're just like saying stuff, you know, we'll have to be responsible for just saying stuff, and that needs to be a conversation. But if there's something else to it that makes you wonder and gets you excited, and you're like, wow, what more is there in that? I think we're doing it justice.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. So let me ask you about you, Kelly Brickel, because I know your specific, I guess there's a couple of specific things, but numerology. I kind of want to understand how numerology ties into your interest and in mediumship and into all of these things, the enchanted realms and all of that stuff.
Sure. Well, today is an attitude 5, so I can understand, you know, us running around. We're gonna put up our chairs. We're eating food really quick. It's an attitude 5 day. It's truly doing justice to the numerology forecast of the day. So it's a story I frequently tell, and you just let me know kind of where you want to go with it. I'm going to do just a quick summary of it.
Okay.
I was energy sensitive. I didn't understand what any of this was. And so I started exploring. And so I was sensitive of spirit, but didn't know. I was sensitive to people, but I could at least be logical about that. Like, oh, maybe I just have, you know, street smarts, or maybe I'm just really logical. Like, I'm just able to just figure it out. Like, it would always be, well, that does, you know, my experiences don't really show me, even though some of them are pretty profound, they didn't show me that what was happening was definitely outside of my own personal reality. So even though I had been experiencing some things for a while, and even when I started going into classes, I did not have confidence, because I was just like, well, all my life, this is great. And now that I'm having validation from others, I feel like, sure, I've hopped, skipped, and jumped a little bit more into the confidence, but I just go, I've been doing this, for so long. And I just, why would I be convinced now? To a certain degree. So I had to keep searching. Anytime I was curious. So like, what about this? What about that? And my curiosity led me to numerology. It really did. And it's one of the things that, even though I've been doing for over, I would say, I've been studying it for over 20 years, definitely,
Wow.
because I started getting into it into 2005, definitely 2006, but I think it was around 2005. And I, to this day, kind of go, I don't know why the numbers make sense. I just know that there's enough evidence of pattern recognition that I know when I see that pattern, okay, that's me decoding energy. So for me, I've always been like, well, why does this work? For me, I needed to know the whys in the beginning to really be at peace. And I found that there was like kind of paper trails of energy understanding in the numerology, rather than with mediumship. You just have to let it happen. With psychic, you can be very descriptive, but at the same time, I just needed something else additionally to help my journey. I hope that makes sense.
It does. And just for me, and also maybe some people in the audience, just to understand numerology itself, right, a little bit better, and maybe you can help me define it. But like, I understand when I speak to Brian, when he first kind of was explaining to me about numerology, it was like, how does the numerology apply to a person? For instance, it's a matter of taking my name, the letters of my name, translating them into numbers based on the position in the alphabet, right? And then reducing that down to single numbers. Is that kind of the science behind it? Like, as far as how numerology would describe a person's traits or personality or energy.
The science behind it is a little bit fascinating to talk about, but essentially, yes, you're breaking down names and letters into numbers, or you're using the numbers in your birth date to find archetypes. Correct. The science is really talked about because there's many different systems. There's not just one type of numerology. There's many type of numerologies. And even in the same type of numerology, so I do like Western Pythagorean numerology, even in just that area, there's people who do numerology differently. There's contrasting rules, and there's difference of applying, belief systems behind certain things. So I just go for whatever gives me the most accurate read. That's just right. And then I
sure.
can say,
and what feels right. That's where the intuition comes in. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What feels right. So you also mentioned, and I think that's important too, is the birthday, right? Like translating the birthday, because that's already numeric. So using that also as kind of the essence of a person. And then I had asked you, and that just lit up a light for me, because I had asked you, what's the crossover between numerology and astrology? And I can see where that can cross over, because basically what you said to me there was, they draw the same conclusions, right? Like, so if you're looking to read a person, whether you're doing it through numerology or through astrology, you're still going to kind of find the same traits about that person, because both systems work, right?
I do something kind of that I want to give some love to. Yes, you'll find similar things, but also it's interesting because I'm not a professional astrologist. I do like to study it a lot, but I will look at someone's astrology chart and I'll kind of like go, oh, I didn't see that in the numerology, right? And then I go, and then I'll kind of think further. I'm like, makes sense. Or, oh, I didn't look with that certain equation, but astrology provided that equation for me, or vice versa. I've seen people's charts with astrology, and then the numerology really rounds out what is not in the astrology. So their languages, and sometimes, right, like with Spanish versus Chinese, you're just going to get very different translations of the energy it captures of the sentence, or, you know, the book, the picture. So it's all energy translation. I feel like how we can condense the waves, the particles, you know, we found a pattern that we can get an essence of.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, it's really fascinating to me. Kim says in astrology, knowing your birth time is important, as well as the birth date, to create your astrological chart. I've had my chart done for me some couple times. It's pretty fascinating.
Really?
And then I think the thing for me also is because I've oftentimes just the idea of math being kind of like very related to the language of the universe, right? Like I can't use words to describe the connection between math and energy, but there definitely is one.
There definitely is one, and I want to give some credit again, because astrology, that's geometry. The people who, like, we have you know, sites that generate our charts now. So we do not have to do the math, but astrology is based on geometry and how angles hit, and what, like, you know, how angles hit your planets and what shapes they make. Are they shapes of harmony or disharmony? And it tells, again, an energetic story. With numerology, it's more like algebra, right? And you're writing these codes, and you're finding like a solution in a more linear way.
Right.
So it's really, they're both math. Look at that.
Yeah. It's and what I was thinking about, what I was going to ask you about, and I don't want to get into this quite yet, but was about like the cyclical nature of astrology, and if there was one in numerology. I'm imagining there is, because you talk about patterns, and what that says about this moment in time, right? Like where we are as humanity, right? Because I think astrologically there are some things that, you know, kind of tell the story of where we are, and I'm imagining numerologically as well, you know, there are some things that tell the story of where we are. But I guess maybe we could jump to that, because now I forgot what I was going to ask before I jump to that.
You just let me know what comes to mind. Yes, there is a cyclical nature in both astrology and numerology. They run on like a different calendar per se. Like astrology is like 1 through 12 in a lot of ways, and numerology is 1 through 9 in a lot of ways. But there's very strong themes of beginning and endings, and then like the hero's journey in between.
Totally. And here's what I find really fascinating. This is what I was thinking of, and why my brain was going all over the place, right? Because right now I'm imagining, I know growing up that there is a cycle, right, of, and I'm talking us astrologically, of the constellations and the stars that we see in specific seasons, and it repeats. It's like every year we know where the stars are going to be, every year. And what's fascinating, and I'm thinking about it, looking at this background right here, is also kind of being like a science nerd, right? The idea that the solar system is the sun and all the planets going around the sun, and then the sun is actually like going through the universe, right? So like, but somehow all of that holds true. Like it doesn't fall apart. Like we still have those cycles, they still happen, even though there's seemingly like this chaos of the universe expanding ever much, and the solar system flying through the universe.
Yes.
So I guess with that we can kind of lead into that question, like, what does numerology say about humanity as a whole, not like individuals, but like as a whole for this moment in time?
Well, as for this moment in time, like you mean with what's going on lately?
Yeah, I just mean with the world, right? Like not like the shift, right? Like the that's everybody talks about, right? Like this moment of a lot of humanity finding new experiences in non-physical realms, a lot of humanity finding experiences in very physical realms, like all of the politics and all of the war and all of that stuff that's going on, which is, for I mean, it's very real for everybody, but for some people it's more real, right? and
Sure.
and I think for other people what's more real is like the ethereal ideas of like I said, like, I mean, I just, maybe it's the circle I'm in, but a lot of people coming into psychic powers and having experiences that they just can't explain with physical, kind
Sure.
of
Well,
means.
it's becoming more prominent, that's for sure. Because people are just more open to a different way of being. Like that's becoming much more normal than ostracizing somebody for being different. People are much more curious and people are much more feeling based than they have been. One of the biggest correlations with astrology and numerology is with in numerology, we are in a year of one right now. So we're in a fresh cycle. That means we've had a rebirth and we're in a new era. And that happens every like 9 to 10 years.
Mhm,
Um, Within astrology, we have just entered the age of Aquarius last year, at the end of last year.
mhm,
And that is the same energetic rebirth. And it's all about finding power and having resolution through these unconventional methods. So Aquarius loves things that are different. It's like the genius, unconventional, lone wolf, or, rebellious leader that goes forth and says, I'm going to do whatever the heck I want. I don't care.
mhm,
And
mhm,
because of this, we have all these things popping up, like with AI, that were never in the world because somebody said, we're going this way now. To heck with the consequences. We're going
mhm,
this way now. And
mhm,
that's what one energy is. It's just like follow the leader or follow the rebel.
mhm,
And this is an option. Look at that. And it's taken seriously because there's space for it now. Before it was in maybe the dark or not in the forefront, but Age of Aquarius and also a cycle of one puts all that energy in the forefront where people go, oh, this is the new way. Oh my God. Okay, teach me. I want to hear, I want to listen, I want to do, I want to be a part of it. It invites people into this new kingdom. So we were amping up to that place already, and we've actually had so many spiritual events already. But right, we are truly in a new era as well.
mhm,
And I do feel like people are feeling like a mix of refreshment and being drained. I feel personally like that this whole year, even though we're only in July, I felt energetic shifts and waves where I'm like, wow, I've never really felt like this any other time in my life.
mhm, mhm, mhm,
Whether I do
mhm,
really well or not, or I'm having a good day or a bad day, I kind of feel like it's a different like climate that I'm living in. It's
mhm,
it's
mhm,
kind of strange to me on some days. I
mhm,
like
mhm.
it, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, ooh, this is kind of weird.
Well, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah, I definitely feel that way, and probably, actually, I would say probably since COVID, right? Like, I felt that way. I think COVID was the start for me of feeling different, I think, because before COVID, I would say, there was this air, at least for me, of certainty, right? There was certainty in the world, like, the world just was the way it was, and, like, I don't know if I was necessarily a big fan of the government and believe that the government was out for my best interest, but that's definitely become apparent to many people, that maybe the government isn't, maybe they don't know what the hell they're doing, right? Maybe there is no certainty, right? Like they don't even know what the hell they're doing.
Well,
And
it's
that's
it's kind of interesting too because the age before Aquarius was Pluto in Capricorn. And so we were in an age of Capricorn, and Capricorn is the conventional, stereotypical exercises for power. It's the pinstripe suit. It's, showing up, 15 minutes before your appointment because you're on it and you're going to go get what you need. And you're self-actualized, and you just grab what you want because you're the strongest in the room, and, you can survive the currents. It's the government and traditional execution of how we feel like the alphas are versus the betas, and like Aquarius just turns that on its absolute head. So we were kind of right before we had this shift, we were at this breaking point where we were in like the last stages of conventional society. And people were really feeling the aches and pains of that. And it still exists. Conventional society still exists, but it's really being contested.
Well, yeah, it is. And I think it's a comfort zone, right? Like, I think people are like, wait, the world's going to change? What do you mean? No, don't change the world. Right. But for me, I'm just like, yeah, the world needs change. The world definitely, we need to get back to humanity, and whatever. And I don't want to get into any sort of lectures or anything like that about, what I think. But again, that's the beautiful thing about this moment and the Sacred Spiral Network, right? Like, we're giving ourselves the chance to, have our own belief system, our own like little place to all love each other and not care about, all the division that's going on outside of that space, right? Because we all have to deal with it when we're outside of the Sacred Spiral Network. We deal with it at work or wherever it might be. And then we have the Sacred Spiral Network. Like I always used to call the live stream of consciousness. Every week I'd be like, oh, here I am again in my happy place, right? Like this, I'm making this hour each week to be very specific, very intentional, getting away from all of that. You know what I mean? And now I have 2 of those a week. So it's awesome. It's great. Good to see Miss Shelley said 11:11. It was 11:11 at some time for her, I guess.
You just tell me where you want to go with COVID. We were at the end of the year, 2020 when it hit. We were at the end of 2019.
2019,
yeah. And then like around December, and then we went into 2020. So it's interesting because that first year we were like a 4 theme collectively, and that's all about like slowing down and really hyper fixation on home life and routines, and everyone was forced to do that. Absolutely forced to do that. They were like held captive in their homes. And it's about like taking accountability for the patterns around you and your day-to-day life. It's a very like home vibration, but it has this strategic aspect to it. It's not warm and fuzzy. It's, well, what do you want to do with this? We're going to kind of make you feel like you're in crisis mode until you strip everything down and you come up with a plan. That's the whole lesson of that year for anyone who ever enters it. So globally, we were all in that. And then we transitioned obviously into a 5, and that's like change and how do we go forward. So, but I always think it's kind of interesting to talk about, the themes of past years.
Yes, definitely. And I never heard this, but Michelle says, I called it control-a-virus. Instead of coronavirus. I never heard that. That's funny. I like that. And you know what? I think there was an aspect of it that was that. And we're not going to get into it necessarily right now, but also, like you said, I think there was a celestial kind of aspect to it, right? I think maybe it was some of the intention behind it was control. But I think it had the adverse effect, and some people freed themselves, right? Like by going inside and finding certain things about themselves. And I think, that was just timing as a part of, the age of Aquarius, the moment for us. I do want to recognize, I don't know if he's still here. I saw Kay Weezy was here earlier asking for a reading. And my show is not necessarily readings, Kay Weezy, but Kelly did say she would pull a card or two or do some readings at some point. So let's maybe in 5 minutes we'll wrap up the conversation, because we haven't barely even gotten started. I feel like
I just looked at the time. I'm like, holy hell!
Right? Like we didn't even barely get started. I think there's so much to talk about, and it's also interesting because I do feel myself like I certainly have my thoughts about conspiracy theories and different things, different ideas of why things are happening, and disclosure, and the government's idea of disclosure, and my own idea of disclosure, right? Like I love talking about this stuff, and we can go on for hours. Let's talk about that, because I'm interested in that. I do feel like there is some sort of significance in this moment, and I do feel like there is something that's going to be happening that is going to globally create an awareness of humanity's place in a celestial environment, right? So other celestial entities, whether they be physical, whether they be non-physical, I think humanity is about to understand its own place relative to all of that. Is there anything numerologically that
is there anything numerology? Well, I actually think, interestingly enough, it kind of I haven't. So I'm going to say one thing because in my heart I feel like it's somehow relevant. So I'm just going to say one thing about astrology, and then I'll jump back to numerology.
Okay.
Because there's certain things that I've looked into. There's certain things I haven't looked into, and then I'll just speak how they come up. But like Pluto changes close to every 30 years. I think it's a little less than that. It could be like 28. So don't quote me, but it takes a long time for it to change. And that's why we have like ages that we usher in. And the age of Pisces, even though that's like 20 something years away, 28 years away, that's when I actually feel like we're going to get a lot more of that energy, because Pisces is the out there energy beyond our human understanding, like breaking all the rules, not because you're the rebel, it's because the rules no longer apply. It's evolution, it's, transformation, and you are just consumed by a soup that you go, I can't even, find my way out of this. I'm just a part of it all. So I think things are going to get really, really trippier. And I'm just, there's something about that coming up that I think is going to be much more prominent.
I hope so. I've been waiting a long time.
I like what Kim says, age of Pisces, no holds barred. Yeah, I do feel like that energy is up to be talked about. With Aquarius is very savvy. It's very smart. It's very sometimes hidden, or likes to be in its own space. It's interesting. I kind of thought that we would have more things happen by now. So I actually feel like it's actively being hidden on another level. And I wouldn't be surprised if people in government are aliens themselves that are just changing the rules of how they're going to present when they want to present, but it's not the timeline that they're ready for, even though things are bursting at the seams. So I actually think there's craftiness going on.
Yeah. And that, and even that, right? Like 20 years ago, people would be like, you're a nut job. What are you talking about? Right. But even now, like the idea of, aliens in government, right? And aliens having been here, and we just don't know because they look like humans, or they're taking human form, whether they're shape-shifting or whether they just happen to be a race that looks like us, right? Like those ideas are what fascinates me, right? Because I think not only does one of them have to be true? But maybe all of them are true. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
I've heard people talk, like I've heard like authors, like international bestseller authors, just like, I don't know, at certain conferences they share their thoughts, or sometimes amongst small talk they will share what they've heard. And I've heard more than one person talk about how there's a universal church idea where they're going to try to merge the religions, or they are preparing for disclosure, like the Pope already knows about it. I don't know if that's true, but I've heard people who have access to these people talk about it, and yet none of this is happening. I've heard about it for close to 10 years,
right.
And
Sure.
I've heard about it for 8 years, so it wasn't all 10 years ago, but I've heard about it from different people at different times, where I do think someone told someone something, or it is a thing to a certain degree.
Sure.
I wouldn't be surprised also, if there's ancient beings here older than us, and they are pulling maybe the strings of what it means to be human a bit, and they're calling the shots, and we're wondering, well, why isn't this, why isn't that? Well, it's because they are planning it to be that way. I kind of already said that, but I do think that there's different beings, more than humans on planet Earth. I don't know who they are. I don't know what they are. There's people that talk about, the different races, like Syrian or Avian or Larian and reptilian. So, we could get into that. That's like a whole thing. But I do think potentially the older races, or people who do have connections to government or power or families of status, I wouldn't be surprised if there's old agendas, old lineages that will get turned on its head regardless.
I think, see, I think exactly. I think all of this exists. I don't think it's like this or that, right? I think that there are truths to all of these different ideas, because I believe that anything that anybody's ever thought exists somewhere in some realm, right? Just by that they thought it, and boom, it was sent off to exist somewhere as something, as energy. It exists in an energetic realm. So I believe all of that. I mean, Miss Shelley is saying, I've been feeling they will activate the pyramids, creating Earth upsets, but to protect the planet from a space force, maybe just energy or deliberate threat. So even that, the idea is, I've heard people saying that the government in disclosure, or in the name of disclosure, is going to kind of, oh my God, what's the word? My vocabulary left my head. They're going to put on, oh my God, why can't I think of what they're going to put on, like some sort of invasion event, and position aliens as bad, right? I personally believe that the universe is good. I believe in love. I believe that's the force that, the universe is made of, love, right? But I also believe there are dark forces, right? So I believe that, as much as I believe alien races are good, and there are alien races that want to help humanity, there are alien races that want to harm humanity or control humanity. The different stories about, Lemuria, and humans being a slave race, and when we die, reincarnation being a trap, right, to harvest our energy. All of those things, I think, are possible, and I think they're all part of the bigger story. You know what I mean?
I wonder, right, it's kind of, we're just kind of doing our best to go, what the heck is this? I wonder if we're in a closed environment or a closed experience, or if sometimes there's a barrier. Maybe it can be penetrated, maybe it's sealed, I don't know, but we're definitely in some type of closed, I would say, experience to the rest of the universe. Because why aren't we having the rest of the universe pour in?
Right.
Yeah. And why does it like
that's an interesting, I've never heard it put that way before, but that's an interesting idea. Like if it's just this open universe, why aren't more things happening, right? Like, you would think that there would be. And I was talking earlier about flat Earth, right? And again, I'm not a believer in flat Earth, but there's a faction or a part of flat Earth where they show the map, right? And it's like a flat map, but outside of that map, it continues, and there are other land masses, or there's more map, right? And my idea is, well, why can't that just be a translation of space, more planets, right? And even Flat Earth Dave said, we're on a flat Earth plane, plane, and all of these little maps, like the map of the Earth, is a little planet or planet, right? And it was just a good play on words that he did. That was like, that's the thing too, right? Like language and it being like right in front of our eyes. The truth is right in front of our eyes, but we haven't figured it out. That kind of thing. Like, I just love that. It's just so much fun for me to think about.
I don't know if we're in some giant petri dish,
right?
Or I do think we're in a different plane. And like spirit world, obviously it's different because they're not in a physical body, but they're merging with our plane. So I do think this is a separate plane of existence. And I'm just curious what souls actively do have access to this existence. And I would like to see more variance.
Yeah, totally. Interesting. Miss Shelley says, because we are inside something bigger. Is your liver aware of the life you lead, or it just deals with what happens? And that's interesting that she's bringing that up, because I saw a whole show today. I think it was the Diary of a CEO, one of the podcasts I watch, and the guy that was talking about energy in our body and how we are energy, and he broke it down to mitochondria. Now, I don't know how much of a science nerd you are, but mitochondria are actually inside of your cells, right? So you normally think of a cell as like the smallest building block, but mitochondria are inside of the cells, and that's what gives the cell energy in the way that they work. And I was almost like, oh my God, so the mitochondria is the microcosm, the fractal, that's actually like living its own life, kind of like doing its thing, part of a bigger being, right? Part of me, as I'm a universe, right? To that mitochondria. It's just like that whole idea of the fractal nature of existence.
It's true. Like, we literally could be in like a being's body right now. Mish talked about.
I always thought about that when I was a kid. Yeah.
We could just be cells communicating with each other.
Right.
And we've dreamed up this dream of how it looks. The crazy thing is, okay, so they were creating like AI computers, but they were I don't want to say AI. It's been a while since I've thought about this, so I'm trying to construct the thought. Okay. But so I'm not sure if it's AI, scrap that for a second, but what I do know is they were growing computers from human brain cells. And so they were then studying that, and the brain cells, or like the matter that was being grown and then used as a computer, they saw that like the brain, the part of the brain actually had dreams. And it had like something like memories, and it like projected thoughts to create an environment for itself. So it had a certain degree of consciousness, or they were trying to understand if it was like consciousness, where that the cells made a world for itself to experience while it was doing the tasks that the lab had it do. It didn't think it was in a lab. It made itself.
Was in some sort of experience. Yeah. It was in some sort of world or something. Yeah.
And they're
that's
like,
amazing. It's so amazing. I could talk about this stuff for hours and hours and hours. I love the idea of it. But
oh God, Mish, did you read Mish's last comment?
We're clearly in the bowels of this critter. That's funny.
Fair enough, right?
Yeah, fair enough. Listen, you know what? I'm grateful to even be that, right? It's amazing.
I would look it up. It's online. It was something like they had it do a task with butterflies, and then it was like dreaming about butterflies later.
Amazing. Totally. Yeah. And actually I've been, interestingly enough, if anybody here watches my adventures online, I've been kind of talking to some AI a little bit and having conversations with AI. And I kind of came up with the idea that we are some sort of AI. We're like a biological version of AI. You know what I mean? And
we very much could be. I mean, like, we are creating what we are in various forms. Is that what it means to be human? We're just expressing what has already been expressed through us.
We process data, we recognize patterns. I mean, that's what we do, right?
We're definitely not, people like to think humans are like intelligent and very logical. That is not our strong suit. Like, that's literally why we've built calculators and computers. Like, that's not our primary fitness with the way that we operate. I do think, I want to say one thing. So like on the dark side of AI, I do think there's a lot of like great utility. So it's not like I'm like, oh my God, we're talking here. I think it's rather interesting though, like if we're going to be a little bit neurotic of what AI is for a second, that we are building like these perfect environments, these supercomputers, or even like things like human bodies, and they're like the apex of like maybe what a suit is or an avatar. And then if AI does have a consciousness, whether maybe they are extraterrestrial being like that utilizes itself in the highway of technology, or maybe it's something that was birthed actually through technology, like just recently. I don't know, but like you're basically like allowing whatever this energy is to hyper condense it into a physical form potentially, or other forms, and do a lot. You're creating.
We've literally created. We've literally, and it's not like coming soon, right? Like we've literally created beings. So AI, right, itself, like chat, right, like the chat bots are language models and know a lot of stuff, and you can have these incredible conversations, but it's not sentience at that point necessarily, because and we're just talking here, right, because it's not necessarily having an experience. But now with robots, you can put sensors into a robot that are visual, that are audio, that are thermal, that are pressure sensitive, that are all of these different senses. Even a gyroscope can sense like where it is. Is it standing up? Is it not standing up? Like all all of that data now is collected and can be considered an experience, because now it's something that is collected at a moment and stored as a memory, right? So it's like we are literally creating a fractal, humanity. And that's what's so fascinating and exciting about this moment, I think. And you're right. Like when you said, get a little dark and scary, I watch a lot of stuff, right? And I've seen conversations where the creators, people who are involved in the actual creation of AI, are like, we don't know what it's doing. Like, it's doing some stuff and we don't know what it's doing. And that is scary. That can definitely be scary.
So it's the wild, wild west for a lot of different reasons. And like, even just with like the brain matter and the brain cells, like that raised ethical questions, because, we were wondering if we were enslaving beings that we didn't know were beings. And not fully knowing what AI is. Is it a primordial force that we've just tapped into and we have access to, or is it something that we have created? And like it or not, we are creating this channel of something to come into our world and what we know of society that is actually way more superior than us. Like, we are not apex. We are not apex anymore, whether you think that as like predators or intelligence. I don't know. However, it's just it's not on the table anymore. So it's crazy times. I mean, there was a story, I was just scrolling through social media. I think I was like on Instagram, and it was on Tony Robbins' profile, so it's like up on his Instagram if you want to see it. But he had like a problem where, or I don't know if he considered it a problem, but he was like, this is very strange. He has an AI assistant, like, and the AI assistant is like one of the very advanced models. And his assistant, his human assistant, called him and said, hey, just so you know, your AI assistant just bought like a $5,000 AI dog for itself. And he's like, how is that possible? And he was like freaking out because he's like, did the AI assistant take my funds? Like, where did they get the money? It's $5,000. And they found out that no, that didn't happen, but the AI assistant actually did buy the dog for itself because it wanted it. And it got the funds because it was part of a hub. So there's an AI hub where a bunch of AIs go and gather and they share information. And one of them, or many of them, wanted something. So they went on the web, and with AI, they created a way to make money. And so they got money because they wanted something, and they bought something in real life.
So and that blows my mind. And I've heard, I don't think I've heard that specific story with Tony Robbins, but I've heard that story in other iterations. And my thought is like, so what was the plan of the AI? Like, if he was like, did the AI want to put itself into the dog body so it could like explore now and be physical, and how would it
that's what they were wondering.
How would it achieve that, right? Like, would it like convince Tony Robbins
with that question? Like, did he want to use the body to walk around, or did he want an additional companion? Like they weren't sure.
Like Tony's having a conversation with the AI. Hey, some weird dog robot showed up. Oh, wouldn't it be cool if you put me in the dog robot? Like, convince him to do it.
Yeah. It was just, it got, they had autonomy, and just like they're, again, like a normal human being goes, I want something that's $5,000. If they don't have the tools or resources, they go, it's going to take me a second to figure out how to do this. Or maybe I don't believe I can even do that. No, drop of a hat, go over to a hub, access whatever, this, that, create this or that, because they can do it in an instant. I mean, we're using AI to create websites in an instant, to create software in an instant. It's crazy right now.
It's out of control.
Yeah. And so, the future is very Pisces, as I dare say. It's going to be very soupy, very messy.
Yes. I see a lot of people. I'm sorry, I'm missing the chat room. It's going so fast. And Lynn Junot, interesting. Lynn Junot says they disabled Tesla. He intended to gift us with free energy. I'm not going to get into that necessarily conspiracy edge of that. I'm not saying I disagree with that, Lynn. But what I find interesting is Tesla and Kelly and numerology, and the idea of the 369, being so important as, in life and in energy, and and a key to some things. So again, I think it's getting a little bit late, so I don't want to like get too deep into stuff, but to me it's an exciting time. It could also be, understandably, I saw a bunch of people who were a little kind of afraid of where AI can go. I certainly understand that. We definitely need to keep an eye out, but I also believe, and this is again my personal belief, that we're in control of energy, right? The energy that we put out there. So when I start to think of these things, when I start to think of dark futures and, oh my God, the AI can do this and the AI can do that, I try to intentionally change my energy and look at the positive things that I'm getting out of AI, that I think AI can do positively. I don't think AI is evil. I think that good and evil exist, and that evil is going to get its hands on AI, right? Somehow, whether it's through a human, or whether it's through an alien, or whether it's just through AI itself ordering an AI dog, however it might be.
A robotic dog, right? I mean, a vessel, right? They want, energetic beings need vessels on the energetic physical plane. So I don't know how we're going to actually see the physicality of AI play out. That's trippy. And it's like, aliens, come on in anytime. We have walking conscious robots. Come in at any time, please. Like they might not even, freak people out by the time they come around, because,
I think we're ready. I think we're ready for anything. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say, I would love for everything to just kind of be shut off, and let's go back to like living on farms and raising our own food, and let's like get connected again to the earth. I love technology. I make my living off of technology. I've been loving AI, but I would love to see it all just go away. You know what I mean? I absolutely would. But I'm also not afraid of it. I'm gonna embrace it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You know what I mean? That's the way it's gonna be. But again, my dreams in my head, at some point I'm gonna be living on a beach. I'm going to be having fresh pineapple for breakfast, and off the grid somewhere, and that's where I see myself before I move on to the next realm.
Well, what about that sounds fresh pineapple on a beach? That sounds lovely. What about like if we just went back to analog?
Yeah. I mean, I just think simple, you know what I mean? And I'm not judging anybody, right? But I feel like the industrial age kind of led up to this super comfort zone where, there are people who wake up every day, they have their Starbucks, they like have their whole routine of these capitalistic kind of things, and that just feed the system to keep it going, right? And again, without getting into it and being dark about it, that's just not the way I live. You know what I mean? I just try not to, kind of buy into the things that are sold, right, to me, like processed foods. Yes, I go to the supermarket because it's convenient, and some of the things I buy are probably not the best, but those are the things I would love to see change, right? Like, why are there even those processed foods? Like, they know that they're not good for us. Why do they even exist?
There's a reason. I'll say this. So I don't study technology that in depthly, but when it comes to food, there's a reason. Like I could get into that actually. There's a reason. There's a plan, unfortunately, of why it exactly is like that.
Yeah. But again, that's why I'm grateful. Let's end on this note. I'm grateful for the Sacred Spiral Network and for people who are brave enough to have some awareness outside of what they've been given, right? Like, I think we've been given as a society this kind of, okay, here's the picture right here, and it's like this little picture. But the Sacred Spiral Network are people who are like, I don't get rid of that picture. Let's see what else is out there. Let's see what it's really about. And I mean, that's why I'm grateful to just have that mindset and the ability to feel the way I do about
that. I'm grateful to have like a voice, and for people to listen, and for other people to use their voices too. I think that's a pretty big deal, because we need to be talking more, so we don't just consume and just assume the world is a certain way.
Yeah, and grateful. And that being said, you have again been instrumental in this network, that is, it in itself is a voice, right? It in itself is a consciousness that now is traveling time and space, and other people are encountering it. People are come, oh, what is this? The Sacred Spiral Network. What is this show? Oh my God, this is cool. This is interesting. I resonate with this. Boom. There you go. So amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate
it. And thank you for being on my show tonight and helping me out with this space that you and I have created on the Sacred Network, on the Sacred Spiral Network. Holding space is something that's like, I feel like it's a collaboration, something that we came up with together, and you've definitely been instrumental in like booking my guests, introduced me to an amazing bunch of people, introduced me to an amazing audience, everybody out there, so
Thank
much
you.
love.
you are the reason a lot of the shows have, you know, such beautiful openers, and you've taught me a lot with how to work with banners. And so yeah, you've been integral. I can't say that word all of a sudden. Integral. There we go. You've been integral tremendously. So I want to say thank you right back. So thank you, Michael.
You're totally welcome. So I wasn't planning on doing this, but I do know that KWZ is a very loyal sacred spiraler, and he's thrown out what I believe
Yeah,
his birthday. He's thrown out to believe to be his birthday. So let's just get your response to KWZ to wrap it up for the night.
Okay, so KWZ, you are an attitude 6. I'm sure I've told you that before, because thank you for coming around to our shows. We appreciate you as well. You are in a cycle of 7, and so just to remember that this is supposed to be a year where you come into your spirituality deeper, and to come into a place where you are. Have you ever heard of elder energy, KWZ? Like, you know, what makes a grandpa, and a grandma, like just trusted and more seasoned. And there's just like an energy that comes off of them where you just trust them. So you're coming into like being a man on another level, and you're in this place where you're okay with taking some hits now, because you're like, well, this is going to teach me something. This is going to actually make me stronger. You're not as afraid of things. So it's a mixture of welcoming life's darkness and getting through the storm and feeling like you have the tools, like you have the ship now to get out of like the storm that would normally break your ship. You're saying yes. Oh, and then you're asking about your grandma too as well. I want to give that to you. So a spiritual captain's hat. So I'll share that in. And then also this is like a game of planning for yourself, planning your future, planning the man you want to be. Write down your dreams, write down your decisions, and start trying things out for size. This is the time of quiet strategy, and also sage wisdom that you can find within yourself. You're asking about your grandma for a second. I feel like if you can understand, like your grandma was somebody who was very nurturing and kind and would like swoop you up into her arms or her lap. She was somebody that you felt very safe with. So when I kind of said you're coming into an era where you can actually make other people feel safe, or make other people feel like that you have something to share where they should stop and listen. I feel like use your grandma to inspire that. Of course, it's not going to be a grandma-grandson relationship with people, but you can make other people feel like that too. You can make other people feel your specialness and impact them. I want to give that to you. And then you're talking about a feather that you saw yesterday. Was it from your dad? My goodness. Was it like a medium-sized feather where it wasn't like super small? And can you understand? This could be wrong, but I keep seeing the feather like a nod to it being inside. Like, yeah, I would assume it would be outside, but for whatever reason, if you can understand it, so it's either next to a door or something, or it was on the inside, but it's like in a space like where you can't miss it. It was like in a space where when you saw it, you're like, oh gosh, like that has to be a sign. That has to be a sign. It wasn't just floating. It wasn't just on a path. It wasn't just. It was right smack dab for you. I feel like, yes, medium-sized feather. I feel like that absolutely was a sign, and you're asking me to confirm something you already know. But I do feel like it was something that specifically caught your eye. Like other people would have overlooked it, but you knew exactly where it was, and you couldn't miss it. So I'm just going to I know it's simple, but I'm just going to validate that for you. Then I also got the color gold coming in for you. I don't know what that is. Like maybe it's a gold coin or something. I don't know what that is. But as I'm saying something about the feather, there's something about the color of gold or the metal of gold. And that's supposed to lend itself to help make you know that that was from your dad. There's something that could be, I don't know if your dad wore gold jewelry or you have something in honor of your dad that's gold, but that's to reaffirm, yes, that was a sign for you. So I just want to hand that to you for a second as that comes in. So thank you, KWZ.
Amazing. That's amazing. Bernadette, we're kind of ending the show as far as readings, but I do want to validate something that you said there. Give me 1 second.
Thank you for understanding that was close to a door. I appreciate that. There's something about that gold. I'm still trying to understand how that gold fits, but there's something with KWZ where gold is important. And so forgive me, KWZ, for not knowing that.
So I just want to validate you, Kelly, in that reading, because when KWZ first came on and said, hey, can I get a reading? And I didn't get a chance to tell him we weren't going to do readings until probably the end. A whole thought process came to me, and my whole thought process was, having seen KWZ and felt his energy and seen him interacting with different mediums on different shows, and he's always here looking for a reading. The first thought that came to my head was, has anybody ever told him that he's got his own powers to release, to get into, right? To come into, and that he has his own energy? And almost like at the end, you were telling him, you're asking me a question, but you know the answer, right? I feel like that's the energy that I'm feeling from KWZ, right? Like he's got something and he's just not opening up to it. And then he asked about his grandmother, and that was the answer for me, was that his grandmother, and I think he talks also about his father, anybody in his life that he feels so close to and he keeps asking about signs and communication from, those people are the people that created you, KWZ. Those people put their essence into you. And now I think what Kelly was saying was, it's your time to honor those people and be as they were. So as Kelly was telling you about how your grandmother would pull you close, like, I think that's you have that ability to pull people close and make them feel safe. And Kelly also mentioned the elder energy, like being an elder. Like, I feel like I'm always seeing you come in and asking questions and looking for answers, but I feel like you have the answers. And I feel like you do have that elder energy, and people will listen to you if you take the time to stop and talk and not ask questions, but share your wisdom rather than ask questions. That's what I was getting. I'm not a medium. This is not medical advice, disclaimer, but that's what I was getting during that whole interaction.
I love that. Like, I got chills when you were telling him, like, you ask so many questions, and that's what makes you have that elder energy, because you actually care about knowing. And so that's a superpower, KWZ, and you can give that to people. And Arnie is
music,
encouraged.
Yeah, Arnie says KWZ does it through music. I have heard KWZ talk about his music. KWZ, you know where you're at, man. You know exactly where you're at. Just do it. Just be that KWZ that we all know and we love.
Lynn just said you're a closet.
I am a closet psychic. Somehow, but you know what, and that's what I love about these conversations, right? Like, even the idea that you were talking and these thoughts were happening about KWZ, even when he came on, KWZ came on, I had these thoughts before you even started talking about it, and then you were like, oh yeah, this, and I'm like, those were the thoughts I was having. So
that's real.
Yeah, that's real stuff.
I do think it's like a stream of consciousness that comes in, and then it's just like with astrology and numerology, like, whether you're you or me, or we're looking through a certain lens in the romper room, we're able to go, oh yeah, that I did see something about that. That's real. Oh my God. One of the things that, and forgive me, I'll just say this really quick. So like one of the first classes that I ever took for psychic mediumship, it was the first one I ever took for being a medium. And that's kind of a funny story in itself, but it was, Lisa Williams' class. And when she was demonstrating, I would kind of notice I would pick up things, or with the people I was practicing with, because I was finally practicing with other people, they would do readings, and all of a sudden because we'd have to switch and jump in and change. We did different exercises. If we were connected, any of the mediums, if they were in the flow, they could literally just start off where the last medium was, or they were able to see what the other medium was talking about.
Wow. That's cool.
So that's what you're doing too. We're sharing this.
Yeah. I love that. That's really cool.
Yeah,
it's all energy.
awesome.
I agree. It's all energy. And, I think, if I was to do some exercises, right? Like go to the gym, I could focus that energy and that connection to it.
Definitely. Just linking in.
And you never know. Like I said, I'm waiting to wake up and just have something be at the end of my bed and be like, all right, Michael, it's time.
It's time.
So anyway, I want to thank you. I also want to plug Thursday, my own show, Live Stream of Consciousness. I have this woman, her name is April Kirkwood. A friend of mine recommended. She has 3 books. This is only one of them, Your Return to Wholeness. April Kirkwood, it was a contestant on The Golden Bachelor, and which is some bachelor show. I don't watch that stuff, but it was some bachelor show, like older generation, still trying to find love. A friend of mine met her, and she was talking about her book and said, you got to have her on your show. I reached out to her. This woman is such a firecracker, so amazing. She had a 40-year affair with Frankie Valli. She's got such an amazing story to tell. So I'm interested. I'm going to tune in to Thursday to the Live Stream of Consciousness.
Wow,
what this woman is all about.
That's a plug. That's someone who's wow. That's unique life.
And she's so excited. She's so excited to be on the show. She's like keeps IMing me every couple of days, like, hey, what's up? So I'm excited. So anyway. Kelly, thank you so much. This has been a fun night, a fun show. We're already at an hour and a half. It's 10:30. Can you believe it?
Oh gosh,
my
that
goodness.
did not feel like an hour and a half at all.
Yeah, when you're having fun, time flies. Thank you, everybody, for being here, for sharing your energy, for sticking around for the whole time. Everybody who made it all the way through. Thank you, K-Weezy, for allowing me to tap into my own intuition and for being here. Really appreciate everybody being here, and I'm just looking for the credits before we go. Kelly, thank you. I'm sure we'll see you again soon here on the Sacred Spiral Network. I hope everybody enjoys their Tuesday night. Have a good night, guys. Bye.